cheer for your Sydney Swans.
Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods, a fan podcast of the Sydney Swans Football Club.
So to all you loyal Swans out there, you just can't get enough of the red and the white.
Fluff up your tail feathers and settle in for a potentially biased yarn about all things to do with our beloved Bloods. G'day there, Signets and Swanlings. Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods. You're joined, as always, by the boys from Sydney. I'm Noddy, and this is Sam.
That's right, you lucky loyal Swans fans. Tonight we're going to be going through the amazing close win over the Pies. But before then, remember, if you enjoy what you hear, make sure to give us a like and a follow. All right, let's kick things off with a quick game recap.
All right, last Friday night in front of almost 38,000 fans at the SCG, our Sydney Swans defeated the Collingwood Magpies by 3 points with a final score of 13-11-89 to 12-14-86. All right, Sam, first impressions over to you, mate. What did you make of that?
Well, finally we got a good win. Finally we won a close game this year as well. I think that's really important for the Psycho. I think it was really significant and symbolic that we had Chad, Heeney and Errol kicking the last 3 goals of the game and just having those guys come back. Obviously, Errol didn't have the biggest game, but, when he got his moment, he took it with both hands. Just an awesome win. I'm only just getting my voice back now.
Me too, mate. I don't want to skip over the amazingness of the game, but yeah, we ended up in Surrey Hills at the Keg and Brew, and they had a fantastic karaoke session going. And to their credit, there were a lot of Pies fans there getting amongst it. But before that, mate, oh my God, you have to agree that has to be one of the best games in recent memory, if not maybe up there with like top 5 at the SCG. Come on, that was unbelievable.
It could be. I mean, I think it'd be hard to go past for me. The games that I've been to, it'd be hard to go past Gary Rowan. One of my favourite games ever was we'll touch on them later, but the game where four of our Hall of Famers retired. The prelim against Collingwood. I think for me it would probably come into that area.
Yeah, mate. For me, it was the Pluggers prelim point against Essendon. Ran on the field with the family. Sister got trampled, but it didn't detract from the moment. It was unbelievable. I wasn't there, unfortunately, for Nick Davis's fourth quarter heroics against Geelong, but that has to be up there as well. I'm sure we're missing a few, but this is the type of game it was. It instantly went into that category for the fact it was just an unbelievable finish. All right, let's be honest. It was a decent-ish first half. We didn't have a shocking first quarter. We only trailed by 3 at halftime. Third quarter was pretty rubbish, to be honest. I mean, they jumped us. They, as we all know, they had a 27-point lead going into the last 18 minutes of time. But to come back the way we did in the circumstances. And the fact that we'd suffered, a record-breaking loss the week before, completely demoralised. Everyone was against us. It was pretty much do or die. And I just want to shout out to Stephen and Adette, but Stephen from the Rookie in Red and White. It's another fantastic Swans fan podcast, and he released a thing which he called Stephen's Statement, and did a post on it. But it was basically a 4-minute statement that he read, or had written out and read. And it was fantastic. If you haven't listened to it, go and listen to it. But basically the gist was, the Port loss wasn't the end of the season. It was an outlier, but basically we just have to win. And I think that this was the game where that happened. We just won. We just had to win, and we did it. And it was off the back really from like beast mode heroics from Chad and Warner. Chad and Warner, Heeney and Warner, right? Let's chat about these guys right now, because I mean that really their fourth quarter game was just unbelievable, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm the first to admit, as much as he's my favourite player, Chad has not been in the best form the last few weeks, and even in this game, he was taking the game on. but some of his disposals in the first half just weren't there. But in that fourth quarter, both of them just went back to like Super Saiyan mode of the first I don't know, half of the season. They were just so good, and in different ways too. Like Heeney was just such a dominant presence in the air. Chad was really good in terms of clearances, and I feel like pressure as well. It was awesome. They were both setting each other up for goals as well in the game, which I thought was cool. They both had one goal assist, which was to each other. I like that.
They were epic, mate. Like 14 touches each. Heeney had 4 inside 50s, 3 clearances, 2 contested marks. I feel like it was more than that. It was 1, 2, 3. It might have been 3, but anyway, and a goal. And then Chad, as you're saying, 14 disposals, 7 contested possessions, 5 clearances, 3 scoring involvements, and a goal. Obviously, Chad had a goal earlier in the game as well, so he came in and out of moments, I think, as he's sort of been getting back into form. But and Heeney, I think, ended up with 1-3, missed a couple of tough shots, but honestly, that it was just. I mean, really, it was off the back of that effort. I mean, talk about picking your teammates up and dragging them over the line. I mean, that sort of we are focusing on that because that is the quarter where we got the job done, but really we shouldn't overshadow the effort of James Rowbottom. Rowie probably was our best for 3 quarters, and he came back with, that doggedness, that sort of, that effort, that pressure, that tackle, and he was pretty clean. He got some clearances himself, I know, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where you remember that fourth quarter, and the heroics of these two guys, Heeney and Chad, they're just going to stick out in memory, and of course, Goulden. I mean, let's go through Errol's game. It was pretty quiet for most of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's probably in a sense, up until the last moment, his worst game in memory.
We'll take it.
He got tagged by Steel Sidebottom, which is such a strange matchup. But yeah, it obviously worked very well. He had as many touches for the game as Heeney and Chad had in the last quarter. So he was very much quelled. But when the moment mattered and Sidebottom, tried to do a handover and Quaynor didn't pick him up, Errol took it and took it with both hands.
It sort of reminded me of that game against the Giants.
100%. I was just thinking that Toby Green.
Yeah, Toby Green and the handover between, I think it was Ollie Florent and Dylan Stevens.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, 100%.
Or was it a Josh Kelly goal?
No. 100% Toby Green was what I was thinking of. It just came in my mind then when I was talking about the handover.
It was almost same area, same sort of time of the game, and same circumstances.
Green was with 30 seconds to go or something.
Yeah,
I think that was fucked.
Oh, that's right. There's still a couple of minutes on the clock.
Yeah, that game sucked. That was horrible.
Yeah. But this one, let's talk about this one. I mean, how good was Goulden running over to the members stand there and just pumping them up? I actually took I rewatched the game like twice, but it's still kind of like a blur. There was a camera angle from after Errol got that goal, and it was sort of a camera from the member section, and you could see someone fully just turfs a full beer into the air because you can just see this spray of liquid, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? That's fair. In that moment, Errol's just done that after a very quiet game by anyone's standards, let alone his. But just the moment, just sensing that moment, and coming through and kicking that winner like that was just, oh my God! I was dancing in the aisles, mate. It was bonkers.
Yeah, it was wild. I was going off my chops that whole quarter.
The sigh of relief from you afterwards. I think we took a video and posted it, but it was classic, mate, because it was tense. I mean, we were out. We were down and out. Did you think we were going to make it back?
Oh, I was really hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
like I never think anything. I just hope. I just try not to even make predictions in my head. But yeah, no, I was really trying to do anything I could to will them to get there. But hence the voice. But
Yeah.
I didn't give up. But it was really looking bad, especially in that when was it Long tackled McCartan and kicked that goal in the last quarter,
Yeah.
like in the first minute or 2 minutes. Like yeah, from there it was looking pretty bad, but we came back and we got there, and yeah, very much thankful that we did.
I mean, that last quarter, obviously, we've spoken about the heroics of Heeney and Chad, but obviously the goals, right? How did they play out? It was
I think
Wilbur,
it was Wilbur, and then it
Logan.
was, or was it Logan then Wilbur? Who was
No,
first? And
Wilbur, Logan,
then
Warner,
it was
Heaney,
Chad,
Gordon.
Heaney,
Yeah,
Goulden. Yep,
yeah.
I knew the last three.
Just and let's talk Logan, right? Okay, so Horse has been
But yeah, let's talk
criticised
about
time
let's
and
talk about
time
the last
again.
quarter in general, like because
Yeah,
there's a few changes there that were really significant.
yeah. Well, let's swing the magnets. Plan B. I mean, Horse is always criticised for not having any backup plans, and it might seem simple, but putting Parker into the middle, Logan up front, and Millsy down back, and I'm not going to say that they're the changes that allowed Chad and Heaney to go off leash, really, but it bloody helped. I mean, Parker really just got in there, grabbed the ball, 7 disposals, 4 clearances, 3 tackles. That kick out of the centre square, and Logan just read it perfectly. Takes the mark, shoes Maynard back. What a grub, right? And kicks it. And talk about moments. And he's been through a lot this season, right? Those 2 demoralising misses. Is he going to extend? He extends. He gets thrown back while Melly's out. He has up good moments, bad moments, but that was a huge moment. That goal itself, that clearance and goal, was a huge moment in how the game panned out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just as significant was Mills down back.
Yeah,
I thought he looked really good down there. Seemed like he was just getting fist in at the right time. One thing I want to touch on too, just in terms of Collingwood's goals, they kicked 12 goals. I think 8 of them, and obviously I'm not saying all 8, but I think 8 of them were preventable. So going through these, we had the bullshit free kick on Elliott, the
mm,
goal on the goal line from, I think it was Bytel,
mm,
the Cox 2-on-1 with Cox in there and Cunningham, and there was another Collingwood player,
yeah,
Quaynor, where it just got out the back and he ran onto it. Um, there was in this game as well, we could have had someone on the goal line for one of the goals, couldn't we?
yeah. That's right.
Um,
That's right.
and that didn't happen, and it happened later in the game, thankfully.
Mm,
The defense not dealing with Cox's shot, and just kind of it goes out and bobbles out to McCreary.
mm,
Then not dealing with Elliott's shot, which was a great finish from Lipinski. Hill runs through 3 defenders and shimmies around the goal square and kicks a goal.
mm,
McCartan getting done holding the ball. Logan got done holding the ball. Didn't
mm.
result in the goal, but there was a lot of shots that we gave up from really, I don't know, really just unnecessary positions where we just got to kill the ball or get it out of there more effectively.
Mm,
And also, yeah, Collingwood had 4 more scoring shots, and we won the free kick count by 11.
mm.
So there's like it is also a bit of a let off in a sense as well. And we kicked more goals than behinds finally, which is fantastic. But yeah, there were some, I guess some bit of an asterisk on things as well where we really can improve.
Well, I got a couple of points there that I want to go into just quickly. I think you have to sort of take. I think you've got to take a bit of a position, because of what you've outlined there are specific plays on goals, plays that led to goals that highlight that we really didn't have our best game and we weren't clicking as well as we could be. So if we ended up losing by 27, or if they blew it out again and we lost by 60, then these are the kinds of things you'd be focusing on, right? 112 point loss, 30 or 60 point loss. The Swans are cooked. They're done. That was probably draw a line through us, but it was just the symbolism of just getting the win. just getting the win. And of course, was it a perfect game? Absolutely not. Was it important to get the win? Absolutely yes. Yeah, the implication is, we saw that fourth quarter by Heeney and Chad. Is this the game where it starts to click again? Are we getting some of our confidence back? And I just think you've got to take the wins when they come, however they come. And I just think 27 points down, the way that it happened. Sure, there's a lot to review in that game. That third quarter especially, but I think that when all the dust is settled, it's just a fantastic win at the right time in the context of an already fantastic season to just hopefully get us back on track. And the other point I want to quickly say, Sam, and I'm going to pass over to you, is you mentioned we won the free kick count by 11. I'll tell you what, it seemed like we'd won by 11,000 the way that bloody McRae was going. What a bloody sook. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that he mentioned home ground advantage. Horse's reaction to that was so perfect. Like, it's just like, what the fuck would anyone be able to say back to that response of, you've got 17 home games a year and you're saying that there's with a crowd double the size, and you're saying that this is a home ground advantage? Like, it's audacious. It could be the most audacious statement of the year, maybe outside of what's his name? Who's the CEO of the AFL now?
Dylan.
Andrew Dillon saying that the umpiring is in the best state he's ever seen. So it's
delusional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those two should go have a drink together. But yeah, no, it's touching on that quickly in 2 minutes. What do you think we can do to fix the fixture being as biased as it is?
Oh, look, 2 minutes. I mean, this is a big one, mate. I've had different thoughts on this over the past 3 years rolling. Obviously, Tassie's confirmed, so that takes the total teams up to 19. NT's on the horizon. They're going to have to match the NRL PNG team that's coming in shortly after 27, 28. So it's going to be the race to a 20-team comp between AFL and NRL. And look, I think that when you're getting to 20, I just think that this is my thought. I know there's holes in it, but this is my thought. 2 conferences of 10 teams each. You have a home and away. So you've got a full home and away of those 10 teams. Of course, there's inequity if you're in a weaker conference than the stronger conference. And so there's 2 ways that you could pool the conferences. You have a lottery at the beginning of the year, so it's purely luck that you're drawn with these other teams, and so that no one really can complain. Or if the AFL is going to bitch and moan about that, we've got to put the traditional rivalries together. Then you put 5 Melbourne teams in one, and we're talking like Collingwood, Carlton, Essendon, Richmond, and North Melbourne, let's say, and then you put the others in the other. So, like Hawthorn and Geelong got a bit of a rivalry over there. Melbourne and Hawthorn. Dogs, all that sort of stuff, all over there. Saints as well. And then you put, 5 interstaters each. So on one side you have the 2 West, the 2 South, and then Tassie, or Northern Territory. And the other side you have 2 Queensland, 2 New South Wales, and then Tassie. And then you can have a proper wildcard series. So the top 2 winners go through automatically. And then you have a wildcard series with the next, the top 3 from each go through. And then you have 4 teams play wildcard. And then you go on to the finals. And so I think it would be an exciting final series because you've got teams who haven't met each other before. And so you can kind of get into that tradition of it's great to win your conference first and foremost, but then if you win the flag, it's an additional prize on top of that. So it is following that sort of American model, but they've also got 330 million people and 4 codes with 30 teams each, or not quite, but it's a substantially different market. It's a significantly different market, but that's what I keep thinking about because until you get home and away. What they should have done is just cut all the Melbourne teams and just had a comp of 10 or 12 and, 2 from each state, and then you could have a proper home and away series. The EPL, there's 20 teams in the top league, I think, and they just do a home and away series, and whoever wins at the end of that is the champion, right? So there's different ways you can do it, but that's how do you get rid of, I don't know. What do you think, mate? It was over 2 minutes. But.
I like it. I'll try to summarise my view quick. I like it. I think with that as well, you could have a little bit of cross cross function with that as well. So you could play some teams in the other conference, wouldn't just have to stay in one. On your point, but mine would be. It would just be play all teams once, leading to 19 games, and then you play maybe you could do one rival round. So you play your arch rival twice. So for example, Swans or any of the states. So the Derby, the Bridge,
we don't use that word on this podcast.
The Battle of the Bridge, don't we?
Yeah, we don't call it that.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's called
the Big Brothers versus the Nobles.
Powell's Creek, Kapow. It's the geographical landmark we all care about. Okay, it's the creek that separates Western Sydney and not Western Sydney.
Done. The Powell's Creek, Kapow.
Yeah.
And I guess the showdown, whatever, all those rivalries. And then you have maybe one like ladder position and gather round or something like that. You play 22 games. Or 21 games. There's one extra in Adelaide, and then it's 10 home, 10 away. For the Vic teams, obviously they can find a way to then compensate and play an extra, a home game away from home and reward their members with that or something like that. Anyway, we'll move on. That's for another day. But just throwing some ideas out there, just so then Craig McRae can listen to those and then see what he thinks is best, so the home ground bias is eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, it still sounds like the Vics are going to get more games in Melbourne. But look, I mean, you have to give it to the Pies fans. Their members, their fans always get to games. They're always vocal. They were more vocal than us in the first 3 quarters, right? There are a lot of Collingwoods, all that sort of nonsense. But we were talking about McRae having a sook. I mean, Mason Cox jumped over the mark on Blakey's set shot on goal. That was overlooked. We're talking about just the same game, right? There was a couple of 50s our way. Bobby Hill, he was holding up deliberately. I mean, I think they were legit. But it's just to blame the free kick at that time just reeked of desperation because he knows his season's cooked. It's done. But like the short-sighted hypocrisy of him and this club. Just this year, they had a 1-point win over North Melbourne, right? Bottom 3. At that time, they were probably bottom 2, maybe last. They won the free kick count 24-14. It was a marvel. And there was an instant where 2 Pies players ran over the mark, probably about the same distance as McCartan, and play on. North didn't get a 50. They lost by 1. And I went through and I read a lot of socials, and all the Pies fans were like, get over it, play on, you flog. Didn't win, so what? You're a sook, shut up. And like, it's hard not to throw that back in their face when that's how they act, on the flip side. But yeah, look, mate, I don't know. As you said, I love what Horse said. It was an extraordinary admission from a coach whose team plays 17 games in Melbourne, 6 away. Unbelievable. But yeah, look, that's them probably, right? But look, if we talk about a few other things in the game, actually probably the segue there is to look at our win-loss record, right? So we're still in first. We're a game clear, right? 15 wins, 6 losses. We've had 8 wins at home, 7 wins away. We've had 2 losses at home and 4 losses away. So, obviously got 2 more games to go this weekend away, next week back at home for the last game of the year. But, I think that, it's just one of those things where, you really just got to keep your Didn't Tom Green get fined for being overcritical of the AFL with Toby Bedford's fine of that tackle on Taranto? And yet here you've got a coach basically saying the umpire was wrong and they get it wrong. And I just hope he's been fined. But
I think it was a warning. But
it was a warning, was it? They fired a warning shot. I mean, what you can't... Obviously, the Pies have made a fine art of close wins, and I just could not be stuffed going back looking at that record last year. I've just looked at their record this year. They've had 8 games in which there's been a result of 10 points or less. Of those 8 games, they've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, they've had 2 draws, Essendon and Freo, and then that 3-point loss to us. Whereas us, on the other hand, obviously, we've had 4 close losses and then that 1 galvanising win against the Pies most recently. So mind you, we've only had 2 other losses for the season in there, but it's just interesting, isn't it? It's just all very interesting.
For sure.
Going back to the game, mate, I want to shout out 2 other guys, if I may.
Of course, go for it.
JJ on Nick Dacos and Wilbur.
Yeah, they were both awesome. JJ, so happy to see him come back and play a role. Because he's been pretty off during our low patch, and he had the opportunity again to impact just like Errol did in that moment, and he took it with both hands as well. So credit to him, he did a really good job on Dacos.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Did you just read out the stats there, mate? I just...
No, I didn't read the stats. No.
So 25 disposals Dacos had at 52% efficiency. Right, the bloke had 8 turnovers and only 3 score involvements. I mean, look, they're pretty decent stats if you're anyone else, but I mean, he really is a fantastic player, right? And he's so influential and so critical for how the Pies play. And JJ just absolutely padlocked him. And JJ himself obviously would not set the world on fire with disposals, only had 8 of them, but 4 of those were score involvements, right? 1 being a goal itself in the first quarter, and then 1 being a direct goal assist, as well as 5 tackles. So, I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to see, isn't it? I think I think you shouted it out. You want to see, like, he's had a bit of a dip in form, as they all have, but give him a role, give him a job, get him back on track. And I'll tell you what, there's no bigger task in the league than Nick Dacos, and he did bloody well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did fantastic.
I want to see him just stick to that. Just he gets the opposition's best halfback or midfield or whatever. Just keep him in that role.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's his best role in the year. It's sort of like when we had Ryan Clark and we were playing him and not as a tagger. It was like, why? Just quickly, I just looked through the stats from last year. Collingwood had, I think it was 12 or 13 games under 3 goals, and they lost 2 of them.
Right.
Like 1 against Melbourne by 4 and 1 against Carlton by 17. All the others they won if it was under 3 goals. And if it was under 2 goals, then they only lost the 1 game. So they were close game experts last year. So there's the stats there.
Yeah. So they're obviously carrying over that this year, and they're a different team this year, and I hate to say it, but the Cats didn't make the finals the following year after 22, and the Pies are looking likely to also not make the finals. So, it's whether you want to have a flag. I'm not talking about Geelong here. Obviously, they're very successful. You don't want to have a flag every 10 or 20 years. I think I'd rather be in the mix every single year, and that's us, mate. So, the other guy I wanted to talk about, Wilbur. So goal in first, second, and fourth quarter. Most goals on ground, 3-1. I just thought that was in a game that was so tight and every goal counted. I think he turned up, and he looks still pretty banged up, right? He's got his knee strapped. His ankle was shot in the Lions game. He's just played on. I really thought he was going to have a rest, but to his credit, he's come out and he's played his role as well. And I think it was just a really fantastic effort.
Yeah, I want to shout out a couple of players too. Harry Cunningham, I thought he was fantastic. I loved his game. I thought that Braden's efforts defensively were so good as well. I just think he was sort of playing more of a lockdown role rather than being that more attacking presence as he normally is. And I thought he did a really good job there. I think as much as I was kind of paying out in the back line before for a lot of easy goals that we conceded, I think they all had pretty good games. I thought Blakey was good. I thought Robbo was good. Mills, when he was back, I thought he was good. I think Logan was good, had good moments when he was back, and then obviously the magnets got shifted and he went forward and kicked a crucial goal. So, shout out to them. I thought Grundy, even though Cameron was very good for Collingwood, I thought Grundy was doing a really good job getting first use to the mids. Not that they were necessarily taking advantage of that, but...
Mate, Yeah, I agree. I think Cameron probably got the chockies there. He had a fantastic game, but the Pies still pay us about $250,000 a year for Grundy's salary, so that's also pretty bloody tasty.
But they're
But
probably paying from our delisting of Cameron. They're probably paying, that probably getting that back as well. So it all evens out because Cameron, he's been very good pickup for them.
I think it's a net win for us, mate, and that's how
I
I have
think
to
so.
tell myself. But
I think
that's what I
so.
have to tell myself. But yeah, it's one of those rucks that we've lost, right? But
Yeah. Well, let's get into the votes.
yeah, let's go to the Bob. So Bob Skilton medal, obviously our version of the Bob Skilton, the Bob medal. Sorry, 3 points go to Heeney. Right?
Yep. So
yeah,
who are we going? Do you want me to go, or do you want to go? Or?
yeah, go for it, mate. Just whatever you want to say.
Heeney had 4 scoring shots. Unfortunately, only 1 goal. However, came at a very crucial time. 32 touches, 14 of those in the last quarter. 6 marks, 4 of those in the last quarter. He had a game high 8 score involvements, a game high 9 inside 50s, a third best on ground 480 metres gained. I reckon quite a few of those would have come in the last quarter as well, and a goal assist to Chad. So yeah, I think just a colossal game, specifically that last quarter.
Yeah, it was unreal, wasn't it? He was a game changer. I mean that's surely 3 points, 3 Brownlow points right there.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
And then so 2 votes. We had Chad.
Yep.
So again, so he had 2 goals, 33 touches. He had again the 8 score involvements. He only had 2 inside 50s, 490 metres gained, 8 clearances. Sorry, Heeney had 7 clearances as well. That's something I missed. Chad's tackles and pressure as well, I thought was better. The Swans posted something today, and as much as we gave him a bit of a I don't know, spray for his disposals, he actually went at 76% efficiency compared to Heeney's 53. So, he was it was very good, and even when he wasn't disposing of the ball well, he was always taking the game on and trying to give us that best chance.
Mate, he was 64% defensive half. That's interesting, isn't it? I thought he was probably close to half and half, but yeah, it's shows the effort. That's what you want to see, a bit of that gut running. Bit of that assistance in defence as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then 1, so it's kind of a contentious one here because obviously we had Rowie as the best player for the first 3 quarters. So what are we doing? Are we going with Rowie? Or are we going with Hayward?
Rowie. Let's go with Rowie.
I reckon we go with Rowie but Hayward was awesome. It's a close toss up between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rowie had I think his first quarter he had 11 touches, 4 clearances. Throughout the game, I think he had 5 tackles. How many score involvements? Let me have a look. He had, 4 score involvements, 7 clearances, 5 inside 50s, 355 metres gained. The stats don't do it justice though.
Yeah, I think his pressure acts probably would have been pretty high. 24. Yeah, he's our best on ground is so best for the Swans on 24, and Pendlebury had 27. So it sort of just goes to show that effort and that as we were saying that tackle pressure, that hunger is there. He's really such a driver for that of that for us, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. So I think we've called that half the team now. So there we go.
One thing I wanted to just have a quick chat about is the mix of tools. Obviously, Melly is out, and we've spoken already about Logan swinging or playing key D and swinging forward. We obviously have Dostrich and Party, and look, they were playing. I think they were playing roles again. If Melly comes back and Logan goes forward, and then Dos has that ruck forward role. Are we potent enough? I guess it's all subject to the what's the word? The performance, the form of our midfield group. But are our tools, our key tools? Does that mix get the job done in September?
Well, it did for 14 weeks, so it's hard to have a crack at them too much. But recently, I think. specifically Amadi, when he gets the ball, he just wants to kick it inside or kick it backwards. His tackling pressure has been awesome though. I think his forward pressure game is fantastic for a key position. If there was statistics on that, I would think he would be elite. But it is a tricky one, because I just think that they all really need to improve their contested marking. But I think Amadi specifically, when he gets the ball, he's just got to make better decisions. And I think if there was a change to happen and they were to play Parker up forward and have him hit through the middle, and have him play as sort of that third tall, not that he's a tall, but he's a big body, and he's got some height on him at least. Amadi would be the one to come out, but I think that we'll stick with what's been working. I also think that we do need to bring Melly back and bring Logan up, because I think that's going to then take the pressure off Amadi and off McLean and give all three of them a chance to shine more.
Yeah, I just looked up. Party's got averaging 2.1 tackles, which is in above average category for his position. So pretty close though. That's pretty good. Mate. I think I'm of the same mindset. I think it's about structure, and if we're all playing for each other and playing well, then clearly it's a structure and it's a format that works. So. It's not any one person. It's a mix, as you say. And I guess the point is, when guys are coming in and they're playing a role, they're doing it well enough to know that they can be called upon. Obviously, Francis and Laddams coming in when they did against that huge loss is obviously not good for them, because they've been pretty consistent performers at VFL. I'm not suggesting they get a look over any of these other guys that are injured or a test, but it's just it's good to know that we've got players getting some game time experience in different roles, and Logan probably being the biggest example of that at the moment. But mate, that was the best. That was such a good game. It was just so amazing, right? It was so energetic, a lot of deliberate out on the full insufficient intent. But if you, I watched the replay twice, as I said, they were actually there. All of those ones that they were there, and there were a few that weren't, to be honest. But I mean that one for Fox that wasn't there. But look. Have you got anything else to talk about the game before we roll into next week, mate?
I don't think so. I mean, we talk about it for hours, but no, we'll move on to next week. Good win.
Good win. A very, very good win there. It's good to hear you keep it under wraps there, mate. I know you were going bloody berserk on the night. So, but that's it. We gave it our all, just like the players, and I think we were pretty worse for wear, to be honest. Did you guys kick on after the game?
No, we didn't. We ended up going to Tea Gardens in Bondi, and there was about 6 people in there. So we ended up coming back home and playing sequence with me, Oscar, and Caitlin. Oscar's my Collingwood fan cousin, who always takes losses well. In all fairness,
yeah, he was good value. He was good value.
So no, it wasn't a loose one. I wish we came with you guys.
It was unreal. It was just like cold. Chisel. It was like there was a lot of like, I don't know. They were just bangers. Every song we was just like screaming our heads off, and it was a good one. Unbelievable. That'll stick in our minds for a long time.
So next, what's next? So we got Bombers on Friday night.
You're going to be there. You got tickets.
Yeah, I've got three kids' tickets that I bought as a contingency that I'm now trying to get rid of. They've suddenly released all these tickets that are not $90 a pop, bloody Ticketmaster. So anyway, we'll see how I get rid of those. But the main thing is I've got 4 tickets for the people that are come with me and myself. So I'm happy.
Good stuff, mate. All right. Well, the injury list was announced tonight. Obviously, the headlines there is Melican is a test. And we've already spoken about him. You said a moment ago that if he's ready to go, he's back in. I can't remember who you said would come out for him though.
Well, it'd have to be Cleary.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Given that McInerney and Papley are 3 weeks away, it would have to be Cleary that comes out, and then who would be sub? It would be maybe Robbie Fox played injured that game. He got injured in the first quarter.
That's right, his back.
He did his back, and he played on through that game. So his 4 touches, doesn't really do complete justice to that performance. But based on the current stats, he'd be the first one to come out. I think Braden could be, could be susceptible. It's so hard though. Like I feel like we need more slots on the bench because I don't want to. I think Cleary's the only real obvious one to come out.
Yeah.
And that still leaves. If we have to take 2 players out of that team from Friday, that's 2 extremely unlucky players that need to come out.
Yep. I mean, we're talking about the fixture structure. I mean, I think we should have 6 players on the bench, at least 6 players on the bench. Who cares? Just put them there. They'll get paid.
Especially on grand final day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it, right? All these players playing all year and they're missing out. And talking about missing out, right, Sammy Wicks obviously was an unfortunate, he got dropped after the Port game and then he's tackled Ash Johnson in the VFL match before last game against the Pies. And he's concussed Ash Johnson, and he's out for 4 weeks. They appealed it, but it's been upheld. So you've seen the incident?
Yep.
Yeah, look, I don't know, mate. I mean, if he got concussed, but it didn't look that bad. I mean, they were tripping over Caleb Mitchell at the time.
Yeah,
I guess I'm just a little bit pissed because he's been a pretty consistent role player this year for us.
Yeah, I think 4 weeks is just a really big punishment for something that looked like it could have been accidental.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean,
it's like Luke Parker's suspension. It's Heeney's suspension. We haven't been getting very lucky with the the adjudications.
I think we can say it clearly. The VFL is fucking us because we're going. I mean, like Parker's. We spoke at length at the time. Obviously, the guy's face, Josh Smith, I think his name was, got real banged up. But I mean, 6 weeks. Come on. And this right. This was a tackle. This is the same tackle that Charlie Cameron did on Liam Duggan, who also got concussed. He was given 3 weeks, got off scot-free. Now, I know that there's different standards, apparently, in the AFL and VFL, but it's just another example of inconsistency. I mean, I know we're dealing with 2 different sets of rules, but don't tell me that they don't. I feel like the AFL, they test a lot of things in the VFL, to see how it lands, and then that's when they implement it in the AFL. So, if that's the way they're going, it's the point is we lose forward depth, and we've already mentioned Juzzy and Paps are probably not back before finals really. So obviously that creates an opportunity for players like Corey, Sheldrick, Caleb Mitchell, and Cleary, but. I don't think he played. I think he's had a pretty good season. How many games did he play this year, mate?
I think he's played 16 games. He hasn't. I mean, he probably hasn't set the world on fire in some games, but he's certainly played a role. Yeah. 100%. So, definitely is a shame that he can't fight for that spot. And there you go. There's another player who probably deserves to be in that 23 that isn't there. So we've got a good 26 players that we can really say warrant a spot in the 23 slots. Yep. If you include Wixie. So it's pretty rough. I don't think any will be as rough as the Heeney suspension. Ludicrous. But anyway, let's not get back on that.
Well, hang on. Brody Grundy's nose bled during the game against the Pies. I don't know how it happened. It could have been friendly fire. But if a Pies hand touched him, I hope that whoever it was
should be 4 weeks.
Should be 8 weeks.
Just 100%.
Cancel
next season.
Rip up his contract.
Done.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Patrick Snell's return, you'd imagine VFL. Will Edwards has broken his leg, so he'll be out for the season. That's a shame because he was shaping well. But that's all right. I'll have a good run at it next year. We touched on Juzzy and Paps, and then Constanti is 3 weeks away again, and Buller's started running. So that rounds out the injury list. But Bombers at home, mate, and they've just lost to the Suns in sensational they just beat the Dockers and then lost to the Suns, right? So 2 close games again, 1 loss, 1 win. Flip it, 1 win, 1 loss. So they've got everything to play for. Are they a mathematical chance to
Yes.
make the 8?
Yes, even Melbourne and the Suns, who are below them by 6 points, are still a mathematical chance to make the 8.
Good luck.
It would have to be extremely, extremely unlikely circumstances for either of those two to make it. But, technically, Collingwood, Essendon and Carlton all still have a chance of getting in the 8 because there's, with really, I think it's... I think it's only so Freo, Dogs, and Hawthorn can drop out. I think that the Lions are now safe. Oh no, they're not. Sorry, no, that's sorry. I'm a goose. No, I think I think we're the only team that could be 100% mathematically guaranteed for finals, in a sense. Again, things would have to go horribly wrong for some teams for that to happen. But I think that Essendon definitely still can make finals if they win the next 2.
And look, we know games against us and the Bombers are always pretty close. There's certainly shootouts. I mean, we had a 30-point win against them earlier in the season at the SCG, but it was 131 to 101. So, it wasn't our best defensive game. It was probably, I think it was the most points we've had on us until the Port game. But yeah, look, they've got everything to play for, obviously. And I think if we win one more, we lock up top 2. So that's pretty cool.
I think again, if we win one more, it's hard to see us even slipping from first.
Yeah.
Given the percentage difference and the Lions dropping that game against the Giants.
I mean, worst case is I've got a thing here that someone's posted. If we lose the next 2 games and Port, Giants, Cats, and Brisbane go 2-0, then we could finish 5th. But look, I don't know, mate. I think there's the way it's shaping. If we stick in first, and then a team like Port comes 4th, I feel a bit nervous about that, to be honest. But maybe that's just what we've just got to front up and.
Although in 2012 we played Adelaide, and we had a really bad record against them. And then we played Collingwood, who we hadn't beaten in about 11 or 12 games. I think the last time we beat them before that was like 2006 or 2007 or 2005 or something. So it was like a good 6 or 7 years we hadn't beaten Collingwood, and we beat them in a prelim. And then we had the hoodoo on the MCG. And we beat the Hawks on the MCG. So, in saying that, like, if that's what it is, bring it on and let's take it. But yeah, in on the flip side of that, I want to avoid Port Adelaide like the plague. I don't want to touch them. Oh God. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, look, I mean, ideally, it doesn't matter about the ladder positions. I'd love to win the next 2 games and then go in, on a 3-match win streak with a bit of form.
That's right, and ideally, Tommy Papley and Juzzy McInerney coming back in, and the squeeze on the game day squad will be incredible at that point. But these are all good problems to have, right? You want your best players playing, and you want them to be playing well. And let's hope more than anything that we can just play some good footy. We need that effort. We need that hunger. We need that belief back, and hopefully the game against the Pies was the thing that got us back on track. And yeah, I mean, Bombers, they're always a bit of a threat, aren't they? Always a bit of a threat.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, it always is a very, very close, scary game against them. And yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes.
That's right, mate. And one more thing, mate, before we roll into our outro, is we touched on it very early on in the piece. We were speaking about the Hall of Fame inductees. Did you want to have a quick chat about that, mate?
Look, we can touch back on that game in 2019. One of the best games I've been at in at the SCG. So it was Kizza and Macca's last game. and Reg and Smithy were not able to get up for that one. I think they were out injured. But yeah, no, and Buddy came back for his 300th as well, and Hannah's was there playing for the Saints on the other team.
Oh, that's right.
I think we were down at half time. I think we finished like 15th in that year. I think that's where we took Stevens? Yeah, and then McDonald came the next year. So what a wasted pick that was. But and then in that last quarter, McVeigh getting a goal, and then everyone pushing Kizza up, and then Kizza got that goal. I was in tears. He's my all-time favourite Swans player. So, and I saw him out at the Sheaf that night. I saw the whole team out that night. I could not believe it. So yeah, it was really symbolic to see all four of them get in the Hall of Fame in the same time, given they all finished at the same time. It was really nice. And then Ruzi elevated to legend status. Premiership coach, first one in 72 years. So, that's enough said.
Yeah.
And also as a player too. I mean, he played quite a few seasons for us. He would have played in that 96 grand final. Player and coach legend, and just a good bloke as well. I've heard a lot of good things about Ruzi. So
yeah, that's right, man. Well, I mean, the other thing I guess we've got to shout out is so the AFLW podcast is kicking off shortly. I believe the other half of the bevy did the AFLW episode tonight. So obviously look out for that. We'll be posting that, and that'll be back to back with this episode as well. Probably should have given it a shout out earlier, but we are due to interview Matty Roberts tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. Robbo has been probably one of our best players over the last 6 weeks, I'd say. But yeah, really looking forward to having a chat with him. And I think that probably does us, mate. Any other last minute things that have come to mind?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it all.
Yeah, what a bloody good win. How fantastic. So let's carry it on from here, fingers crossed. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks for listening through to the end. If you made it this far, it must mean we did something good.
So we'd love it if you could give us a like and follow on all of your favourite socials. Otherwise, make sure to keep out for more content during the week and on game day itself.
We certainly look forward to you joining us next time. But until then, up the Bloods. And can you Swannies?
Swannies.